The ATF literally changed the definition of what a machine gun is
Mhm.
no less than 4 times when trying to figure out how to ban the bump stock. Now you got to remember, according to
Right.
the ATF, a key ring and a piece of string is a machine gun. And if all of those things, that they said, oh well, this can do that and this can do that. Well, if they bring this up to the Supreme Court, all those other little items that ATF has still gotten away with because nobody has sued them specifically over those items are all going to get brought up into the same court same case if it goes to the Supreme Court, because functionality wise they fall under the same definition that the bump stock does. So anything
Yep.
that performs the same function as the bump stock will wind up getting pulled out of the ATF. And I
Well,
don't think
also,
Garland wants to bring anything to the Supreme Court that's going to further lessen the authority that the ATF already has, especially given their $17 million additional monies that they have at their discretion to prosecute people who violate the act.
It's
So
going to go to the Supreme Court, Frank.
what's that?
It will go to the Supreme Court. The question is how quickly. Garland isn't going to follow it up because he doesn't want to go to the Supreme Court now, but it will, because for the very same reason that you're mentioning, the same root. There's a poisoned root at the beginning of all of this, where it's the ATF micro changing various definitions and laws to achieve a goal. Well, in one case, the Fifth Court has just said that if it's wrong in one case, then it's wrong in all the cases. And you're going to see several states take that and run with it, which is then going to cause other lawsuits to happen. It's just going to take a little bit longer. This will lead into something that I was just mentioning on Facebook, and I don't think everyone noticed this. It slipped past a lot of people. The red flag laws that I have been fighting tooth and nail since 2018 get rid of, finally got noted it's unconstitutional.
Right.
December 30th, it just came down and they slammed it. It's unconstitutional. I've been fighting this tooth and nail. It's always been unconstitutional. But they finally found that in the court, and it's been struck down, which means since it's based on the same principles as Connecticut in 1999, all 18 states in D.C. stand to be overturned depending on how this is going to go. Because there's the reasoning they went with is that this is assuming that the way they have it structured is an individual is assuming the role of a medical doctor without any education, and it's a denial of due process. So the
well,
combination.
that's the biggest one right there.
Yeah, but this is the way he presented. It was presented in the court, and it's one, you have individuals presuming to have a medical expertise. They don't. How do you know that someone is a clear and present danger to themselves and others? How do you know that? Are you a doctor, a psychologist? How would you have that basis? The other reasoning is, of course, due process, which I've been fighting, and that's the main one I've been calling. But honestly, I'm just happy that they finally, and this is 3 years ahead of time, that we saw that it's gone to court. It only took 4 years for a law that I have lawmakers on record that I've interviewed and published saying point blank, it was Assemblywoman Donna Lopardo. She voted for it. She knows it's flawed. She knows it doesn't work, and she voted for it anyway. I have a couple of other former members of the New York State Senate who explained why they voted for it in the first place, read the bill, and then voted against it. Everyone in New York State, every member of our state government knows this is a flawed, biased, unconstitutional law, and they passed it anyway. and it finally got struck down. It is a victory for everyone because it means that across this country, we could start seeing challenges fail because this is just it has never worked. It hasn't stopped suicides. It hasn't slowed suicides. It hasn't stopped gun violence. It hasn't done anything except give the government power. That's it.
Well,
I think that that's the spot that he wants, but I'm there right there with Frank because I was telling my roommate, we were talking about it before we went live tonight, and I was like, it really amazed me that for the past 2 years you've had all these Republicans come out and talk about how broke Congress is and how we don't need the same and how we need different, and then 3/4 of them turned around and supported McCarthy.
And that's exactly the number of establishment Republicans we have. And they are part of the reason why we are in the problems we have at the moment.
Exactly. And then the other thing is,
So-
is where I agree with Frank is you know what? This Congress is the people's house. I want to know what these backdoor deals are. We have a right to know what they're back there promising each other because it affects us.
everything's a fishing lure.
That's
Everything
been
is
since
a
the
shiny
beginning of our
little
country.
Everything is a shiny little thing, but the small stories that we get are the distractions. The big stories we get are the jabs. All of it is put together specifically to either see how we'll react or to distract us from what we should be reacting to. And right now, if you ask the people what the hell was in that $1.8 trillion omnibus bill, nobody friggin' knows about it. You know why nobody knows about it? Because they're more concerned with, I'm looking at the other screen on the thing that's going on. Lisa Rinna is leaving the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Who, what?
And the rest of the cast is shocked. They don't know how the show's going to go on. And one of the Kardashians' boyfriends' mother died. So they put them all on
Or
a
the
private
sister
jet so they can
wives.
fly them across the. Yeah, these are the things that the American people are concerned about. The American people are concerned about these things. We still don't have a single prosecution from any of the hundreds of people that were on the flight logs to Epstein Island.
Nope.
We got a woman serving 35 years in prison or whatever it is in some golf club prison.
Just lame.
Right, for trafficking children for sexual acts,
Yes.
but not a single one of the clients.
Yep.
Not a single one of the clients. We still don't know who Ray Epps is.
Yeah.
Okay, we know who he is, but he hasn't been questioned. And when you have Democrats coming to the House floor saying the man was just there, he was just a pawn, leave him alone. Just leave him alone. Well, what about the 14,000 other Americans that have been interviewed by the FBI in the last 6 months who were just there? Who were just there. And every one of their names is available on the Freedom of Information Act to find out who the FBI spoke to. But Ray Epps, his name isn't on that list. All of these things. American people are concerned about the wrong things at the wrong time, and it's by design. It's by design.
Yeah. I agree.
If Americans had 1/100th of an iota of what the hell is being perpetrated in their names at their expense behind their backs, that second civil war would not be as cold.
As the years have been going by, I think more and more that a second civil war, a fighting, shooting, hot civil war is inevitable at this point. I'd like to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I don't think I am.
I don't think you're wrong either.